Hello, good day. Today we'll be discussing about the Spanish alphabet together with its proper pronunciation. The Spanish alphabet, known as the abecedario, is composed of 27 letters, 5 of which are vowels and 22 of which are consonants. I know that I had already made videos regarding the Spanish alphabet and a separate video regarding the proper pronunciation. However, I deem it better to have a separate video with the actual sound of the word for better understanding. Before we delve into the lesson proper, let's have some few background of the Spanish as a language. Spanish is a member of the Romance family, which includes French, Portuguese, Italian, Latin, Romanian, and the like. It originally came from the Kingdom of Castile and Aragon, which is today's Kingdom of Spain, and it has expanded all over the world a few centuries ago on account of kingdom expansion. Now, going back to the lesson proper, let's start with the first letter of the abecedario, and that is the letter A. It sounds like the letter A in the English word father. So, A. Example, árbol, aguacate, agua, abatir, abajo, abeja. Now comes the second letter of the Spanish alphabet, which is B larga or B grande. Basically, it has the same sound as the English letter B. For example, bigote, baño, bolsa, bomba, burro. Now with the third letter of the Spanish alphabet, which is the letter C. It has two sounds, one of which is like the letter K in English. For example, casa, carro, cobra. It has the letter K sound if it is followed by the letter A, the letter O, or the letter Q. Now, the other sound of this letter C is like the letter S in English. It becomes the letter S in English when it is followed by the letter E or the letter I. For example, cena, cierto, cebolla. And as you have noticed, I pronounced the first word, which is cena, supposedly cena, but I pronounce it like cena, because in Castilian Spanish, the letter C or the C, if followed by the letter E or the letter I, sounds like the letter TH in the or thanks. For example, cebolla, cena, cierto, gracias. Now the fourth letter of the Spanish alphabet is the letter D. For example, dedo, dragón, dominio, dormir. The fifth letter of the Spanish alphabet is the letter E. It sounds like the letter E in egg. So, example, Ecuador, ejecutar, educación, ejemplo. Now, the sixth letter of the Spanish alphabet, or the sixth letter of the abecedario, is the letter F. It sounds like the F in English. For example, familia, facultad, fuerte, fiel. The seventh letter of the Spanish alphabet is the letter G. It has two sounds. At first, when followed by letter A, letter O, or letter Q, it sounds like the letter G in gate. So, for example, gato, gordo, guardar. Or the other sound of the letter G is like the letter H in English. For example, gemelo, general, generación, girasol. Now, the eighth letter of the Spanish alphabet is the letter H. It is never pronounced, but it appears in some Spanish words. Example, herido, hotel, hospital. Now, next letter in the abecedario is the letter E. it sounds like the letter I in ink. For example, idea, importante, indicar. 10th letter in the Spanish alphabet is the letter J. So it sounds like the letter H in English, but with a more guttural sound. For example, jugo, juiz, jota, jurar. The next letter in the abecedario is the letter K. It sounds like the English K. For example, karate, kilo, kilómetro. The 12th letter in the Spanish alphabet is the letter L. It sounds like the L in English. So for example, ladrar, loco, león, lima. The 13th letter in the Spanish alphabet is the letter M. It sounds like the English M. For example, madre, mujer, mosca, médico. Now, let's go to the 14th letter of the Spanish alphabet, and that is the letter N. So it sounds like the same as the English N. For example, naufragar, nube, negocio, nieve. The 15th letter in the Spanish alphabet is the letter Ñ. It doesn't have an equivalent in English alphabet. However, it sounds like the same as the letter Ni in onion, as well as the Ny in canyon. For example, niño, piña, señora, España. Now, going to the 16th letter in the abecedario, that is the letter O. So this letter has two sounds in Spanish, namely, like the letter AW in law, as in the English word law, and the second one is if followed by the letter R, or if found at the end of the word, and that becomes the letter O in for, in the English word for. For example, oso. So if you can notice, the first one, the first O in the first part of the word oso is like the AW in law, and the last O in the word oso is like the O in for. So oso, otro, obispo. Now let's proceed to the next letter in the abecedario, and that is the letter P. It basically has the same sound as that of English, except that it doesn't have any puff of an air. Like in English, for example, Peter. So, but in Spanish, it will be Pedro without the puff of an air. So, another example in Spanish are papa, pregunta, puerco, problema. Now, going to the 18th letter in the abecedario, that is the letter Q. It has the same sound as the Q in the English queen. So, for example, queso, quince, quito, quinientos. Another thing with the Spanish Q is that it is always followed by the letter U plus the letter E, and or the letter U plus the letter I latina. The 19th letter in the Spanish abecedario is the letter R. R, or the letter R, is pronounced like the English R, but is more thrilled. The tongue is more thrilled in pronouncing the Spanish R. For example, interés. However, if the letter R is found at the beginning of the word or at the end of the word, that is pronounced like the Spanish double R. For example, reloj, andar, beber. The 20th letter in the abecedario is the letter S, and this letter has the same sound as the English S. For example, suscribir, sandilla, sandalia. Next letter is the letter T. It is also the same as the English T, but is less explosive. For example, tableta, tío, tormenta. The 22nd letter in abecedario is the U. It sounds like the O sound in the English word book. So example is uniforme, universidad, unidad. The 23rd letter in the abecedario is the letter B corta, or in other countries it is called B chica. So this letter has the same sound as the English B or the Spanish B larga or B grande. For example, valer, vencer. The 24th letter in the abecedario is the W or W. It is only used in some words of foreign origin, for example, whiskey. 25th letter in the abecedario is the letter X. For example, xenophobia, xilófono, rayos X. The second to the last letter of the Spanish alphabet is the letter Y, or others call it as Y. So it sounds like the Y in English. For example, y hacer, y hacimiento, yo. Also, sometimes it sounds like the letter I Latina. For example, the conjunctions I as well as I as well as soy. Finally, the last letter in the abecedario is the letter theta. In most of Latin American countries, it is pronounced like the letter S. However, in Castilian Spanish, it is pronounced like the TH in the or in the word thank you. So for example, zigzag, zurdo, zapato.